And good morning, everyone. Welcome to This Day.
Good morning. Today is Friday, December 27th, and today is National Fruitcake Day. Ken said he found a great recipe.
Yes.
You're going to have to make it and share it with us because I don't like it. Maybe I like yours.
I think I like fruitcake. I could change your mind.
All right.
I'm going to tell you who's on today, though. We're going to bring you a segment from Kaiser Permanente, Orange County. Also, Orange County Vector Control and the wonderful, Soka University. They have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Beautiful university. Lots of different productions going on down there. And we're also going to bring you a segment with Stuart Spencer, of course, of Advanced Ear Care. And the Orange County Grand Jury, they're going to be recruiting for coming up next year. It's kind of a long process, but we wanted to get these segments on ahead of time because it takes quite a few steps. But if you're interested, you'll be interested in this segment.
Yeah, well, that sounds like it sounds time consuming, but if you have the time, you might as well do it.
People seem to really enjoy it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's National Fruitcake Day. Made with chopped candied or dried fruit, nuts, spices, and sometimes soaked in spirits, fruitcake has been a holiday gift-giving tradition for many years. Rome is believed to be the creator of fruitcake, and one of the earliest recipes known comes from ancient Rome, listing pomegranate seeds, pine nuts, raisins that were mixed with barley mash. Casey, this is why it doesn't sound good. Records indicate that in the Middle Ages, honey, spices, and preserved fruits were added, and recipes for fruitcake vary from country to country depending on available ingredients and traditions. So what does yours have in it?
Well, you got to have spirits. There's no sometimes.
Oh, that's why I like it so much.
You got to have spirits in it. And, instead of the really strange, like we got there, brightly colored candied fruit.
Yeah, they don't look
you
real.
use raisins and dates, and you're still using dried fruit, but apricots and things like that.
Yeah.
Real good dried fruit.
Okay.
So that's really the difference. And I like to put like walnuts or pecans in mine, and then you can choose brandy, rum, bourbon, all of them. I don't care.
I would like some on Monday.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to task him to do that, and I'll be the taste tester.
Okay.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The Subaru Outback is all new for 2020. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an extra-large touchscreen. Welcome to the best Outback ever, the 2020 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Irvine Subaru. Get your new Subaru here with 2 years complimentary maintenance included.
Welcome back. We have Dr. Felicia Wong, who is with Kaiser Permanente. And the holidays are going to bring an awful lot of stress and for some depression. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
So, obviously holidays can bring all sorts of different types of emotions. But before we get into that, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you studied and why you chose this profession.
Sure. So I grew up in New England in a suburb of Boston, and I attended Brown University for undergraduate and continued at Brown for their medical school. Okay. I did my psychiatry residency at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and then I decided that I had enough of the cold New England winters and snow, so I convinced my husband, who's a general surgeon, to move out with me to Southern California, and I came here to do my fellowship in consultation liaison psychiatry at the LAVA in Cedars-Sinai. And I joined Kaiser West LA in 2011 after that, and then continued to Orange County in 2013, where we started our family and we have 2 little boys.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I can't blame you on the weather move because obviously it's really nice here. Psychiatry, was there any particular reason why you chose that, or?
Yeah, I've always been drawn to people's stories. I love connecting with other people. And when I was in medical school, through all my rotations, whether it was primary care or hospital rotations, I always felt most drawn to the person's story. And whether they were struggling with a chronic illness, back pain, I felt that there was an important component of emotional suffering or distress, whether it's depression, anxiety, or very appropriate demoralization.
Right.
And I saw an opportunity to help with that. And so I specifically decided to go into consultation liaison psychiatry, which bridges medicine and psychiatry.
Got it.
And that's what I'm able to do for Kaiser here in Orange County as well.
That's great. And like I mentioned, the holidays in particular can bring on an awful lot of changes emotionally. So let's talk a little bit about, so you talk about self-care. What are some of the emotions that people will go through that you've seen in the past?
So the holidays, which refers to the general time frame from November, December, even after the holidays into January, can bring along a lot of demands of all sorts. There's a lot of events. There's a lot of financial demands. You know, this is a time of giving, and people sometimes have presents associated with that. And there's a lot of family expectations as well as social commitments. And so all this can bring upon stress, feeling overextended or overwhelmed. Sometimes people feel very anxious. There's a term, it's not a clinical term, but it's called holiday blues. And you know, it affects many, many people. In fact, I'd say almost everyone I've had a conversation with this holiday season has mentioned something along the lines of, oh, it's so wonderful, but I'm exhausted, or oh, I've just been running around like ragged and not getting enough sleep. So the holidays can be a time of when even people without mental health problems can feel mild depression or sadness just from all the demands. It's also a time where there's a lot of reflection, and so it can be a time of grief where people miss loved ones, either because they're not close by or because they've lost them recently.
Right, right, or even loneliness.
Yes.
And I've seen an awful lot of our community come through here, and now we're talking about the holidays. And many people, like you said, have lost their loved one, and they don't necessarily have anyone to spend it with.
Right.
So what are some things that people should, you know, recognize, or what can they do about it?
Yeah, so I think that along the lines of self-care, I think recognizing what's important to yourself is very important, because the holidays, especially nowadays when we're bombarded by so much media, you see these very merry images and all these almost idealistic visions of whether it's family or you know, these great parties, and that's not the reality for everyone, as you mentioned. And so I think what's important is to think about what is, you know, meaningful to each one of us, and then kind of devote our time to that. So if you don't have family nearby, but you do have some friends that you like, gathering with them over lunch can be a meaningful connection.
Right.
If you're new to the community, I believe this community has a lot of events, and that could be a good time to put yourself out there, try something new, you know, be open to new traditions and new connections. And another suggestion that can be helpful is that this is a season of giving, and that can also mean giving your time. And so volunteer can be a very helpful way to feel good about yourself during the holiday season, as well as help others who may be not doing as well during this time of year.
So if you are experiencing any of the things that we mentioned, some healthy lifestyle modifications, what are some of those?
So the holiday season is a time of excess. This is something that I think, again, everyone talks about. I mean, there's cookies, cakes, candies, they're around all the time, and there's festivities, sometimes involving alcohol. So this is a time that I really strongly recommend moderation and being mindful of that, because excess alcohol can lead to dips in your mood swings, and it can amplify some negative feelings. And so if you're going to enjoy, it's important to enjoy moderately and responsibly. Likewise with food, you know, it can be fun in the moment, but it can often leave many of us with feelings of guilt. And I don't think we need more of that during the season. And so just to enjoy, but enjoy sensibly. And other lifestyle things that can be very important to maintaining a good mental health during the season are making sure you get enough sleep, When you're exhausted, it's hard to be in a good mood or be able to cope with things that could be stressful, as well as exercise. Exercise is always recommended year-round because it can boost endorphins and help elevate your mood, and it can help combat minor depression and anxiety feelings.
Yes, that is very true. I'm trying to do much more of that lately because, boy, since Thanksgiving, way too much indulgence. Let's talk a little bit about searching for support. So if you are alone or you really don't have very many friends, or as you mentioned, moving into the area, what are some support things that people should look for?
So this is a really good time to recognize when you might need some support or help, as you mentioned. You can start by reaching out to the community and see if there's any resources or people that you can talk to. If your feelings of sadness or stress are starting to impair your daily functioning, like you're finding it difficult to get out of bed, you're finding it difficult to do what you need to do, then I think it's time to seek higher level of help. And you can do that by calling your primary care provider if you have one. Because I know not everyone is linked in with mental health, and sometimes your primary care provider can help you, direct you to the resources that could be helpful. I think therapy is a wonderful option because even if you don't consider yourself to have persistent mental health concerns, it can be helpful to talk to someone, and talk to someone that doesn't know you, is not in your social circle, who can just kind of listen to your concerns and support you through a difficult time. And then, of course, there's psychiatrists like myself, and we're all here and ready to help during the season. And there's all sorts of psychiatrists, ranging from urgent emergency support services to outpatient providers who can see you with an appointment.
Perfect. Well, gosh, thank you so much for all the information.
You're welcome.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
And remember, if you want any information about what we've just discussed, you can always go to kp.org/Orange County. We'll be right back.
Did you know that the Laguna Hills Lodge was originally built as a place for relatives or friends to stay when they were visiting? In 1968, Laguna Woods' residents built the first 2 buildings of the lodge because they wanted a place close by for visitors to stay. Since then, the lodge has become the spare bedroom for the Laguna Woods' residents. The lodge has received the TripAdvisor Award of Excellence 8 years in a row. We invite you to stay in one of our recently remodeled garden rooms and take advantage of a special offer for Laguna Woods' residents, family, and friends.
Welcome back. With me from the Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control District is Public Information Officer Mary Joy Coburn, and I'd like to welcome you.
Thank you.
Great to have you here today.
Pleasure.
And we've got a few things to talk about, but primarily we're going to talk about mosquitoes mosquito season, and I think a lot of people who may have moved here recently from out of the area, and they may not realize that, yes, we get a lot of mosquitoes here. Of course, they get a lot more in the south and other parts of the United States, but we do get them here. And we've had an awful lot of rain, so therefore, a lot more opportunities for mosquitoes.
Exactly. With a lot of rain, there's a lot of rainwater accumulating in our backyards, and then with the warmer temperatures, that actually creates the perfect temperature condition for these mosquitoes to breed. And it's really interesting because mosquitoes only need 5 days to complete their life cycle from egg to adult. So that's really fast. Yeah,
that is very, very fast. And we're going to be kind of going through some different slides here that give some information, but there's all different kinds of mosquitoes, and we have what I would call like the standard mosquito, the southern house mosquito, and what I always want to ask when you folks come on, you get something sometimes flying around in your house that are bigger, and we used to call them mosquito hawks.
Right.
Am I right about that? But they're not mosquitoes,
they're
or
crane
are they?
flies, and crane flies are attracted to light, and they come out, but they don't bite.
Okay.
So if you see anything larger, they're probably about the size of a quarter. They're not a threat. It's the mosquitoes, and you'll know you have mosquitoes because they will be biting you.
Okay.
So definitely, follow the recommendations that we say. Mosquitoes need a little bit of water to live, especially the Culex suquifasciatus, or the southern house mosquito.
That's easy for you to say.
These mosquitoes are known to transmit West Nile virus, which we've been having, and we've had in Orange County, and we have them every year. So that is a concern, and mosquitoes need just a little bit of water. So we say no water, no mosquitoes.
Okay.
Make sure you look around your property to eliminate anything that holds water.
Is a southern house mosquito what I would refer to as the common mosquito, something we've had for years?
They have been our common mosquitoes in Orange County.
Like when you go to the south or something, you're out on a field, they're buzzing all around you. Is that kind of the
there
same?
are different mosquitoes in different areas. I know the southern house are in Orange County, and they've been here in the Southland. Actually, they've been here for a while. But there are new invasive mosquitoes that,
we've got photos
popped
of
up
these.
in 2015, and there's actually 3 different kinds of species here. But really, for the residents to remember, they're pretty much the same as far as their characteristics and what they're capable of doing. These are tiny mosquitoes. They're black with white stripes, and slightly different from the other mosquito, they bite during the day also, not just at dusk and dawn, and they can also breed inside your home. A lot of people have these lucky bamboo plants or the bromeliad plants in their home.
Sure.
These mosquitoes lay their eggs individually in those containers, and then if you water the plants, the mosquitoes hatch, and then they become biting adults.
Wow.
Yeah, something to remember also, it's not just these plants anymore. Some people have a spare bathroom that they don't use. If there's standing water in the toilet brush container, you could be breeding mosquitoes there, or in your sinks or in your bathtub. If there's any water collecting or just pooling, there could be mosquito breeding.
Yeah,
so that's
an interesting thing that you said there, because like with house plants, most of us have some kind of house plants, and one of the goals of a lot of them, like I have some in my house, and you got all different kinds, and quite often is to keep them just slightly moist, obviously.
Right.
They
so need a little bit of water.
Yeah. So and of course the water pools down into a little saucer because you don't want it running on your counter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just a weekly, regular routine to take a look around. If there's any standing water, dump it out. In the bathroom, just make sure you turn on the hot water so that just kills anything growing in there, or just take a look around and remove any standing water.
And you've got some information and tips here.
Yeah, these are the difference between the Culex, the southern house mosquito, and the new invasive Aedes mosquitoes. And as you can see, the Culex mosquito lay their eggs on egg rafts, right? So you could just dump that out, and that kills the larvae and the pupae or the eggs. But the Aedes mosquitoes, they actually lay their eggs individually. So a little bit more is needed. Check it regularly, and you can also scrub those containers, especially pet bowls. They need to be scrubbed routinely, regularly, so that we keep our pets safe.
And this is something, going back to that other one, the Aedes mosquitoes, that's really hard to combat, is that they will lay their eggs, and the eggs that can sit there for a year and then get
over
moist.
A year.
Yeah.
They have seen some eggs remain viable for over 8 years.
Wow.
So
it's almost like planting a seed. A seed can be dry for years. It hits a little bit of water and begins to germinate.
Just waiting for the prime condition. So these are the common breeding sources we've found around homes when we do inspections. Fountains, those are the stems of the lucky bamboo plants. The mosquitoes lay their eggs individually on the stems. Of course, the most obvious one are the saucers under pots, even a bottle cap that's just randomly tossed out in the backyard. Tires, and then that's at the top of a bromeliad. So bromeliads are normally watered from the top. Unfortunately, that pulls a lot of water.
Wow. And then, with all the rain we've been having, that's very hard to combat everything in your yard. Now, here, most people have a balcony or a small patio, but you can be worried about right here, but we're surrounded by single-family homes. The mosquitoes get out, they go around. They're not just staying in that one area. And so you're talking about thousands of people that have to kind of work together. I know for me, after all this rain, if you walk through our yard, there's standing water everywhere, and you know, little cracks in the bricks or something.
So we're trying to get the message out. Talk to your neighbors who may not be watching the show. We also have a meeting coming up, so we can talk to as many people as we can, so we can share the information. No water, no mosquitoes. Make sure you dump out any water so that we don't breed any mosquitoes.
Okay, so that's obviously a good tip to go around. Is there anything that can be done, you know, well, this is your next slide here, that you can prevent them from coming in the house? Obviously, screens and windows and any kind of repair holes in the screen, because they're tiny. They can get through.
So that they don't come in, so make sure that they are in good condition, and then also don't leave windows and doors open. Sometimes when it gets warm, we tend to do that so we get a little breeze coming in. So then we recommend, if you can, use your air conditioner so that you're not leaving your doors and windows open and letting these mosquitoes inside.
Okay, and obviously if you leave the stuff open, make sure the screens are there.
That there are screens, there's no holes or tears.
Yeah, so take care of that. And another one here, repellents. Now, these are the ones that people can buy at any store.
Absolutely, yes.
Some of them have sunscreen in them, right?
Some of them do. What we do recommend are the ones that have these active ingredients, D-picaridin, IR 3535, or oil of lemon eucalyptus. It's really important to read the directions or the label on the back, because there are different times as far as you know, reapplying.
Let me ask you about, you know, putting that stuff on, because the last one, the oil of eucalyptus. What about if you're outside, you want to enjoy outside, sitting outside, those citronella candles? Things like that. Do they help at all, or anything in that way?
Yeah, according to the research that's been conducted, it hasn't really helped. And especially, you need something on your body, because you could have candles or even plants, but if they're 20 feet away, you know, that's not protecting you. So you need something on your skin. And another thing that's important when applying repellent, especially in the summer, people like to wear sunscreen also. Make sure you wear the sunscreen first and then the repellent over that, because it's the fragrance of the repellent that repels the mosquitoes. So don't put the sunscreen over it, because then that just hides that.
Okay, all right. And here are the different types of tips that we just went over about you know, limiting the water in your area, and saucer standing water, and wearing repellent and long sleeves, you know, which again, when it's warm out, you know, that's kind of a hard thing to do.
Yeah, so if you don't want to wear long sleeves and long pants, make sure you wear repellent to cover the exposed skin.
Yeah, very important. And rats, now I was talking to Mary Joy before this. We know rats very well. It's at our house. Not that they're in our house, thankfully, but we're up by O'Neill Park. We have an orange tree. I grow vegetables throughout the years. And you know, we've tried all kinds of different things. And of course, for the dogs, it's fun for them. They're out hunting all the time. They're out, I think last night, you know, just looking all around in the evening. But what can you do for rats?
So rats, like any other mammals and like humans, they look for food, water, and shelter. So if you have those available, they'll come to your backyard. And so the best thing that we can do is to remove those things so that your backyard is no longer attractive to them. Like, why would they go to your yard if there's nothing for them there? So removing those things are really important. I understand some people have gardens and they have fruits and vegetables. So the best thing to do would be, when they're ripe, just to take them in so that they're not lying out there and not calling the rats to come and eat them.
Yeah, so like I said, that happens a lot. With the orange tree, some of the oranges are up so high. It's hard to get to them, and you know what's worse is when I find a little rat in the spa laying in there. Yeah, usually I'm in the inner tube drinking a mojito, but that's you know, that's a whole nother thing. But here we go. Going back to these mosquitoes here. The invasive ones, they have a certain look to them.
Yeah, like they're tiny, they're black with white stripes. They're aggressive daytime biters. And normally they bite you around the ankles because they're really smart. If they fly around your face, you're gonna kill them. So they're really smart in that sense. So they hang out in the lower extremities.
If someone does get bitten by them, for the average person, does it feel any different than a regular mosquito bite?
Yeah, because these mosquitoes are very new to Orange County, a lot of us have not developed any immunities against them or antibodies. So those who get bit, sometimes it's a larger welt than usual. They're extra itchy. Just because they are new and we're not used to them yet.
Okay.
But for a lot of people, they don't show any symptoms at all, so they don't know that they are bit. But we don't know which mosquito could bite us and can cause itches.
Yeah, very true. For more information, anytime you want, go to ocvector.org, and we'll be right back.
In jail? Where?
Here in San Antonio, ma'am. I'm David's lawyer and I'm trying to get him out of jail.
Well, what do you need me to do?
Why, $700, or better yet, send me a credit card number and I'll get him out of jail immediately.
When in doubt, hang up. Scammers will find family facts for an emotional effect.
Oh, can I talk to him?
I'm sorry, ma'am. He's in jail. If you want to get him out, you got to get me $700 immediately.
If at all in doubt, hang up. It could save you from financial ruin.
Welcome back. Well, we have Michelle Martin, who is the liaison for the gallery at Soka University, and she's here to tell us all about the exciting things that are going on there, obviously surrounding art. Well, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So let's talk about the current one that is going on through January.
All right. Currently at Soka University Founders Hall Art Gallery, which is a beautiful 8,500 square foot space, 2 floors. We have 2 individual exhibits happening. On our first floor is Gregory Gallardo, and he is a beautiful watercolor, acrylics on wood, collages, landscapes, birds, portraits, large, and everything comes to life. On our second floor is Joel Woodard, abstract, very colorful, also large, and they come to life as well. Both exhibits opened in September and will stay open through the first week of January 2020.
And so is it free to the public to go?
It is free to the public. The art gallery is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 p.m. And all are welcome.
And how do you pick which artist is shown?
Well, sometimes I see things online and I'll reach out to them, or somebody will send me a proposal. More so than not, we do have a website that you can submit proposals through, and there are guidelines for the proposals on that website. And they come to us, and we have a volunteer committee, a volunteer art gallery committee. And we meet at least once a quarter. We review the proposals and see if they're within the theme of Soka University, what might be going on campus, what the kids might be studying, culturally, and just see if it meshes with us. And more than likely it does. And then we take it to the next step. We vote as a committee on who to explore to be an exhibitor at our gallery.
So regarding the current people that are the current artists that are there now, did they both submit proposals, or was that somebody you seeked out?
They both submitted proposals, and they are both local artists.
No kidding.
One is actually from Aliso Viejo, Mr. Joel Woodard, and the other is from Santa Ana, who works at UCI.
Oh my goodness.
So we're very happy to promote our local artists.
And how does that help them by exhibiting in the gallery?
Well, it exposes them tremendously due to all the events that go on at Soka University and at the art gallery, which we use for proms and weddings and BNI meetings, all kinds of things. So they're exposed for almost 4 months.
Oh, that is a great time frame. Okay, excellent. So are you saying that if we have an artist in our community and they would like to submit a proposal, they can do that? Is there a requirement in terms of how many pieces you have or what types of pieces you have?
There is a requirement on the types of pieces. We do not accept sculptures. It needs to be ready to hang on the walls.
All right.
And It depends. You know, if they have a lot of artwork and can do both floors, that's great. And if not, they can do one floor.
Okay.
So they can submit it and we'll take a look at it. In terms of sizing, they can be small, large, we can mix them.
Okay.
We do have an in-house curator who knows the gallery like the back of his hand.
All right.
And he helps us put these together, and we'll work one-on-one with the artists.
Okay, excellent. And then just real quickly, what are the time frames that people can visit the gallery during this current session?
Monday through Friday from 9 to 5.
Oh, okay,
We're
great.
closed on the weekends.
Okay, and there's no reservations required. They can just show up.
They can show up. I was lucky enough to start working in the art gallery, and I've been underneath the tutelage of said curator.
Right.
And just been able to soak it up like a sponge.
Oh, that's great.
And I really enjoy it. The dynamics of the artists are always fun. They're different. We've had international artists from Argentina to domestic, from New York to local.
Okay.
So, you know, and we have 3 exhibits a year.
Right. And do the public ever get to meet the artists? Do you ever have like
They
a meet
do.
and greet?
We always have an opening reception.
Oh, okay.
It is the Thursday. We install usually Monday and Tuesday, and we have an opening reception from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Thursdays.
Okay.
It's open to the public.
Okay.
We do email e-blasts inviting the public.
All right.
And we'll do usually a vertical response to the public, and we have an ongoing list.
Okay. So to get on that particular list, you would have to go to the website and get on the newsletter, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
you would
good.
accept the events.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
And that was
I'm also on the website, so you can always send me an email and I'll put you on the list.
Oh, you're going to get some emails now.
I know. It's good. The more the merrier.
Well, excellent. So let's just recap. The current exhibition it already started in September and it's now going through January. What was the date?
January 10th.
January 10th.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
And good luck to you. I can't wait to see more art.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And remember, if you want more information about the artists that we mentioned, or if you happen to be an artist and you would like to promote your own work, you can go to soca.edu. We'll be right back.
Jacobson McCall have created Agent 55, a real estate firm focused on 55-plus communities.
Agent 55 and the marketing technology allows us to deliver even more to buyers and sellers.
Everyone respects Kelly's over 30 years experience as a top sales producer and trusted expert within 55-plus communities.
Agent 55 has great knowledge of Laguna Woods.
Agent 55 offers something powerful and unique. We guarantee it. Ask us how.
Well, with me right now is Stuart Spencer of Advanced Ear Care. We always like to have Stuart here, and we're both kind of dressed for the holidays. You got your nice red shirt on.
You bet. I'm ready.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here.
It is, you know, time of the year where we were talking outside there, where a lot of gatherings are going on, and I think people that have some hearing loss, you really can notice it even more this time of year, right? When you've got all these different events and stuff.
You know, everybody gets busy this time of year,
Yeah.
right? And, you know, a lot of family comes in from out of town. You know, a lot of family gatherings, whether it's, well, just recently, you know, Thanksgiving. You know, we had a lot of people gather, you know, had a lot of conversations after that. You know, we've just had an amazing 30-day stretch here where we have helped so many people to hear better. It's been like triple any other month of any other year we've ever
Wow.
had. And so, you know, people are telling their friends and family, you know, we're helping people with these new technologies. I mean, so when people gather, that's when they notice it, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, they're struggling, you know, and the family members notice they're struggling a little bit more. So sometimes it's the son and daughter that come in from out of town and say, Mom, you know, I think you need a little more help than, you know, what you have.
Right,
you know?
right.
And so, you know, we pick it up from there, and it's been really successful. So, yeah, you're right. You know, people getting together, it's an important thing.
Well, you know, Stuart, I've been telling him for a couple of years now that we're hoping my father-in-law would finally get hearing aids. Now, he lives out in Murrieta, so he got him out there, but he did finally get him before Thanksgiving, and
Well, what a difference.
What a
right?
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and he could hear fairly well, but again, in the crowds and certain
That's
frequencies and things like that. Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, I always tell people, you know, 3 things with hearing loss that are so interesting. You know, is 1, it's invisible.
Yeah.
2, it's painless, and 3, it's so gradual.
Yeah.
Those people with hearing loss think they hear normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you show them the
Yeah.
difference. They're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have really done this a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't know the difference. You know, then they're able to see it like your father-in-law. It's like, hey, this is pretty nice, you know.
You know, the other thing we're talking about is, you know, you and I are probably of the era of rock concerts and things like that.
Sure.
They still go on, of course, but I think people are a little more cognizant of hearing. However, we were affected by that, you know, going to see all those
rock and roll,
Elton John and all those people. But now, younger kids are growing up at a very early age with ear pods.
Yeah.
And, you know, other ones, even the more advanced headphones like Beats and stuff like that that can produce
Wireless.
incredible sounds, but at incredible volume.
Yep, and a cost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so teen hearing loss is way up. You know, and it's not even like really the loudness level. I mean, that's part of it, but it's the time, you know, the length of time they're wearing those
Yeah.
things. You know, they're listening to them for hours a day. You know, they're just hammering their hearing.
Yeah.
You know, so teen hearing loss is way up. So, you know, we see people younger all the time now from our era because of rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of other things. I mean, you know, whether it's Vietnam or, you know, the wars or just loud noise exposure in other areas.
Is it reversible? In other words, let's say a teen has some hearing loss, and is it something that, you know, there's a lot of things that we may do in life that if we stop doing it, it can be reversible.
Yeah.
Like somebody who smoked for years and stopped. And
So a sensory neural loss isn't. You know,
Yeah.
you lose that hearing, it's gone.
Okay.
And those little hair cells die. You know, they're not regrow. You can't grow them back.
All right. So that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
All right.
So, you know, I mean, just along that line,
Yeah.
just real quickly, you know, now, I mean, how many babies do you see with the earmuffs on when you go
That's
to
right.
venues, right?
That's
you
right.
Never saw
You
that
never saw
before.
that.
Now they're really protecting their hearing right from those young ages.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, more to the point, if, you know, everybody's a little more cognizant of it today, just those teens are hard to convince, you know, with anything, but
Yeah.
also with protecting their hearing.
Well, I even know when my daughter was younger, and we'd take her to a movie theater, you know, particularly maybe a loud movie, she would put stuff in her ears, you know, earplugs, and she had tubes in her ears when she was like 2 to 3 or whatever it was. So her ears became more sensitive.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even today, sometimes we go somewhere and she'll
cover up
a little bit. All right, now, last month you had a wonderful event called the Lunch and Learn, and I heard it just went well.
Yeah, you know, we had, it was very successful. We had a lunch and learn over here. We were very graciously hosted by Geneva Presbyterian Church. And boy, just kudos to them. What a wonderful, wonderful, warm and very efficient staff they have. They've got such a nice venue there. It just really dovetailed into exactly what we wanted to do for the community, which was talk to them about hearing loss and the cognitive kind of impairments that people can have if they don't stimulate their hearing once that they've noticed they've had hearing loss. So we had brought in a speaker from out of town that's kind of a specialist on cognitive hearing loss and cognitive issues with hearing loss. And so he spoke. You know, we had about 50 people there, and it was just a great venue. We had a great lunch, provided with some food there that we provided, and a lot of great information. Caption call came. And I think we ended up providing about 30 telephones to people that came that had hearing loss. They came
Very
over,
nice.
we tested them, certified them, and then we helped a lot of other people for the first time with some hearing devices, and it was just really successful, and it was just a great event for all of us, and it was fun to be part of that and work with Geneva Presbyterian Church there.
Yeah, that I'm glad to hear that went well. You know, you mentioned you know, the speaker that talked about the cognitive effects of hearing, and you know, we've talked about this before. It's not as though that people with mild hearing loss or maybe a bit advanced, they're hearing sounds, they're hearing, but they're not understanding, and there's the difference.
That's right. Yeah, you know, I mean, I always tell, you know, patients, you know, they come in, they're sitting talking over a table like this, you know, like, I hear you fine. Why on earth would I need a hearing aid? You know? And so they can hear like a glass break 3 blocks away, you know, but they can't hear 3 feet across the table in a restaurant, right? And so they hear, but they don't understand the words, and it's just part of their hearing is missing. but the volume is there. You know, they can hear their wife talk to them from down the hall. They have no idea what she's saying.
Yeah.
You know, so they've got to come in the room, look at them, talk to them. You know, so we walk people through that whole process. From a short video we show them right up front.
Yeah.
So they kind of understand what's happening, because a lot of people just don't get it.
Right.
And it's not easy. It's kind of a complicated concept. So we walk them through all the different steps, a total pathway. And by the end of that visit, they're pretty well informed. You know, they feel really comfortable about making a decision, you know, one way or the other of what they're hearing. So,
Yeah.
you know, it is important to realize all those different issues.
And you're right, it sneaks up on you. I think, you know, when you turn a certain age and you have to start wearing reading glasses or something, you notice it right away.
Right away, that's right.
And
That's right.
so you start to do something about it, and maybe later on get contacts, whatever it might be. But hearing loss, as you said, is so gradual.
Boy, I tell you,
most
you
of
know,
the time it's gradual.
Most of the time it is gradual. And, you know, people typically wait 7 to 10 years.
Wow.
You know, when they realize they have loss and when they do something
Yeah.
about it. Because let's face it, you get by, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, deaf people get by. You know, so I mean, you have hearing loss, you do get by.
Yeah.
But I mean, boy, you know, to the spouse's detriment, you know, the TV volume's up, they're repeating all the time, you know, everybody's accommodating their hearing, you know, and if they just corrected it, it'd be so much easier for them. And of course, you know, once we do it, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I wish I would have done this so long ago, because they just feel more comfortable and confident.
And the technology is getting so much better.
It's so much better. You know, I mean, we're seeing, you know, we have a data log on hearing aids. We can see how people are using them and how they're changing, you know, the different programs, how they're affecting volume. More people are coming in, leaving it on their main program. I mean, they're just putting them on, wearing them, and hearing better.
Yeah.
You know, these nanotechnologies are fast, smart, sharp. You know, they're really working well. I mean, so the technologies today do the heavy lifting, so people don't have to sit there and fiddle with everything to try to hear well. They just hear well all the time. I mean, I wear mine, you know, on that normal level like 95% of the time. I mean, if I go to a Ducks game or a loud restaurant, or I was at a church party last night, you know, I'll flip it over to the restaurant mode to reduce the background noise. But, you know, I hardly ever touch them. I just put them on and wear them and hear better. So, you know, a lot of our clientele are, you know, over 70, they're a little afraid of technology, or they really don't want to deal with it at all.
Right, yeah.
With these, you don't have to do something like that.
Now, what about the ones, I know there's some that you don't need to change the batteries.
Yeah, those are so popular. You know, they're almost in every model today. You know, they've become so popular. You know, we have people with, you know, arthritic problems or neuropathy or just whatever it is, vision issues. Taking those little tabs off those batteries is a challenge for me, right? You know, so the rechargeable hearing aids, you take them off, you put them on a charger, it just snaps right in.
Do they work pretty well?
They work great, and the cells in them are real reliable today. So they go for about 3.5 days, although we have people charge them every night. But if you did forget, it would go the next day as well. And just put them on. I mean, it's incredible technology. People like it a lot. Simple, right?
Yeah.
Simple's good.
Well, if somebody wants to come by and get their ears checked, they can
always give us a call.
Give you a call, and you give kind of a little consultation. And
yep, you know, we'll walk them through the whole pathway. You know, there's no charge for the exam, so that way they can find out where they're at. You know, we have a lot of people that come in just want to know where they're at. We take like, you know, a good 20, 25 minutes with them, and they have perfect hearing. And, you know, that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's great. We have a baseline. We tell them to come back about a year or two, and we'll just track it. Some people are on the edge, so it's important for them to come back a little faster. But, you know, not everybody has loss that comes in, and that's good.
Very good.
That's what we like to see.
All right. Hey, Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah,
Happy New Year, because I doubt I'll see you beforehand.
Right. Probably not. But you're always welcome.
Yeah.
Come on over.
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime.
I'd like that.
All right. Advanced Ear Care, you know, they're right over here at the, is it Willow Tree? I always forget the name of it.
Willow Tree Shopping.
Yes, over by Aldi and those areas. And Stuart's been serving this community for 30 years?
37 years.
All right.
You
Wow.
believe that? Wow is right.
Yeah, so he knows it very well. All right, we'll be back.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha Na Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for peace.
Well, have you ever thought about becoming a member of the grand jury, or do you even know what they do. Well, a couple guests here right now are going to tell you what it's all about and how you can apply for it. So I'd like to welcome today from the Superior Court here in Orange County, Judge Karen Robinson, and also a member of the grand jury, Chris Beard. So welcome to both of you here today.
Well, thank you.
It's always good to have folks on from the grand jury so people can find out first what it's all about, and then if they are interested in it, how to become a member. So welcome. First, Your Honor, let's talk about the grand jury, because I think there are many people, you hear it all the time, you hear it in the news for various reasons, but people really don't know what they do.
So the grand jury is sort of the public's watchdog of local governmental agencies, the county, the city government, special districts such as the water district or the school districts. And what they do is they try to ensure accountability, that these are operating properly, efficiently, and in the public's interests. And their goal is to review them, make recommendations about how they might be improved to benefit the public.
Okay, so you often hear in the news, well, the grand jury is, and maybe, you know, I'm paraphrasing, is decided to indict this or this happened. And I'm wondering how that comes about. And is it only in, relates to people who are public figures, or can it relate to anyone?
It can relate to any subject matter of a criminal nature, and the district attorney's office has decided that it wants to use the grand jury to present the evidence to determine whether there's probable cause to believe a crime has been committed. And so they'll put that to the grand jury to conduct those proceedings. So that's a small part of what the grand jury does, but it is a very important part of what the grand jury does.
Okay. Chris, how did you get involved with it?
Well, I got involved because I saw the application to apply. I had heard of the grand jury from my experience. I had recently retired, and so I was looking for opportunity to be involved and volunteer in the community. And this happened to come up at the timing was such a year ago that I received the application. Actually, my son was at a serving jury duty, and he picked up this similar flyer here.
Which we'll tell you about these in just a moment, by the way.
And so he said, Dad, I think you may be interested in this. I certainly know you're qualified, after the gentleman explained what the grand jury did. And so based on my experience, my background, and my curiosity, my interest, I decided to apply.
So how do the cases come to you? And what do you do? How is it decided that this case is going to come to the grand jury, but this one is not? Do you folks look at all of them? And
as the judge explained, a portion of it is the criminal side of it for indictments. That's the process. We do the civil investigations. That's primarily our main emphasis, the bulk of our work. And so we don't look at cases. We look at topics and interests and things of that nature. So the grand jury, may receive a complaint letter from a citizen related to what the judge talked about, any of these anything issue going on in government, local government or special district. And so that would come before the grand jury. We also have a wide spectrum of people on the grand jury that are up on current events. We see what's going on in the community, and we take literally those issues in the news and bring them forward to get examined, to look at them and see how the grand jury, may investigate potential issues.
Okay. So, Your Honor, could that be, for instance, somebody is concerned for whatever reason how monies are being spent, or maybe the conduct of a public official or a special agency or something like that, and they can bring forth their concerns and then it's looked at?
Correct. That's exactly how that sometimes works. Issues are raised, they're presented to the grand jury. The grand jury then looks, evaluates, determines whether it's something they want to investigate further, and they can conduct that investigation. But they have some routine functions, and that is to make sure some of our local governmental agencies are working properly, like the detention centers and the jails and Orangewood and some of those local county services that we provide. They just do sort of a review of those to make sure that they are functioning properly, and make recommendations if they find there are some inefficiencies or something like that.
Okay, so Chris, you might look at, as the judge said, how they're operating, and maybe look at something like well, this seems a little like it could be improved on, or look at it another way, or how things are being reported, that sort of thing?
That's a good example, like what we would be looking at, efficiencies, operations, procedures, how they conduct themselves, how they're spending the money. The term often comes up, watchdog. We're citizen representatives looking at all these different levels of government. But I think the best reflection of what the grand jury does is we're required to produce reports on our findings with recommendations. And when we produce those, it lists all different categories. I think what really puts it into play is, like, that, well, most people don't know that local government affects them the most.
Right.
And then other levels, be it the jail system, the county's parks. There's all sorts of topics, parks, libraries, roads, public safety, that's a very big one. The judge mentioned the jails. We're required as a grand jury to produce a report to review the jails. But there are reports that come out, they're online, so in all different topics. I think if I could just highlight two that really piqued my curiosity, and I think brought forward the issue of, like, the animal care shelter. We have a new animal care shelter. Irvine Lake was, I think, a product that helped the grand jury, and their report on it helped move those projects along to a beneficial degree for the citizens.
Very interesting. So, Your Honor, do grand juries throughout the state operate the same way versus maybe other states, or are all grand juries kind of pretty much doing what Chris just explained?
No, I think they're unique to their particular counties and their county needs. And we all are kind of set up with some different parameters. And they're determined by the county in which the grand jury sits. So they can be different from county to county. But for the most part, they are public agency watchdogs. They are the public's eyes and ears to make sure county government is working and city governments are working properly.
Okay, so Chris, you've been doing this since when?
Since August, early August.
And tell us about your experience just overall in the commitment and the time frame.
I'm glad you asked, because there is a commitment, there's a time frame. I had the time frame, the jurors have the availability. It's a 1-year commitment, starts July 1st. And with that, there's some compensation to it, $50 every day the grand jury's in session. And there's mileage involved. So there's some compensation, but the work is really the driving force of why you want to be a part of the grand jury. It's a diverse group of people. I've never worked with a finer group of people, very intelligent, very committed. And so it's really a joy to go into work and work on a common effort to improve our local community. There are people who are trying to make a difference. I think we are.
How many on the grand jury?
There are 19 sitting on the grand jury, but they select 30 altogether.
Okay.
With 11 alternates.
All right.
It's a recruitment process. We're looking for the best, brightest, and the most diverse folks that we can get that represent the county, the diversity of this county. And so we have the application process, which starts now. We're in that process, and applications currently are due by January 17th of 2020.
Okay.
So that's our initial deadline that we're hoping to have folks apply for. And then we have a mandatory meeting that they need to attend, just an orientation meeting to make sure they're interested and want to go forward, and that's on January 23rd. And then the committee of judges, and I'm on the grand jury recruitment committee, there are about 25 of us, will take all the applications that have been received, and there are hundreds of them typically, and we hope there will be hundreds again this year. And we vet them, review them, and narrow that down to about 90 that we want to bring back for interviews. And this is across all of our 5 supervisorial districts. And then we'll conduct those interviews, and it just takes a long, it's a long process, but it is to ensure that we have grand jurors like Mr. Chris who are dedicated to doing what the grand jury needs to do.
Yeah, quite involved, but obviously it should be.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an important work.
So after all your process, when did you find out? How you started it in August, but did they let you know a couple of months ahead?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They kept us informed along the way, and we seek, as an interested party, I wanted to find out what was going on, and they were very upfront and open, and the deadlines and the information was very public, and they were in constant communication. So that was good to know, because you have to make plans if you're going to do something that year. You know what you have to do, or if you can't do, or have to defer or delay, but it worked out.
Did you get vacation time? In other words, do you take off couple weeks for the holidays.
We get the holidays off.
Okay.
Like that.
And the grand jury does determine their schedule. I mean, anybody who's interested should probably plan on 30 hours a week.
Okay.
But the grand jury gets to set the hours, and they get to determine vacations and things like that amongst themselves.
So there's some
flexible.
flexibility.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a full-time commitment, but a lot of us really get involved and we spend a lot of time in it. And
but it is a commitment.
Yeah, it is a commitment.
And it also would mean that I would assume you have to go up to Santa Ana, right?
Correct. That's
Okay.
where.
Yeah, and here's one perk. There's parking available for them, and if you've been in the Civic Center area, you know that's quite a benefit.
Yes. Another benefit, there's a lot of good restaurants up there.
There
really are. How did you get involved? I'd ask you outside if you were also a judge within Superior Court.
Yes.
So you do it all.
Yes, I'm a full-time judge and have a calendar, and we have different committees that we can be involved in, and this one was very important to me and one that I wanted to be involved in, just to ensure that we reach out to and include as many folks in our wonderful county to be a part of this process.
That's fantastic. Now, I'm going to tell people how they can get an application, because we're fortunate that they brought along a bunch of them for us. We will keep a few of them up here. There's a flyer, and then there's the bound application here, and you can find it online as well. We're going to keep them here, like I said, up in the studio. Maybe we'll have a dozen of them, but the bulk of them we'll have downstairs at the front desk. We'll put them down there later today, and you'll be able to pick them up. Of course, you can go to ocgrandjury.org to find out more information about all this. I think it's we've had people on over the years that have seated on the grand jury as well as other judges, and I always hear from them that it's just a very rewarding experience.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think most people that have the opportunity to serve, after they're finished, we see a lot of people reapply, not the immediate next term, but down the line, because they enjoyed it so much, and it's quite rewarding.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it now, the topics, what we investigate and everything, but I'm enjoying it as much working with the fellow people. We have a wide spectrum of backgrounds and life experience with these people. It's just as much interesting, the topics we study and investigate, the people we work with. It's very rewarding and enriching.
Well, very good. Thank you both for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And again, we'll have these applications here. And if you want to go online, it's ocgrandjury.org to find out more information. And we'll be right back. Well, I hope you enjoyed everything today, and we have got a couple really good movies.
We do.
Coming your way.
We do. We got A Holiday Affair, which you know all about, so tell us about it.
Yeah, well, this stars Robert Mitchum. It's all the way back from 1949, and as the name implies, well, there's kind of an affair going on in this. And, good cast in this. Janet Leigh is in this, of course, went on to do Psycho.
Oh, right.
And, I'm trying to think of her famous daughter, who's done all. Jamie Lee Curtis, thank you very much. And so a really good movie, and that'll be today at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock, perfect for this time of the year.
Absolutely.
Now, Monday, for those of you who are fans of Downton Abbey, the great PBS series, we're bringing you the movie. Now, the movie came out just a few months ago, and it stars pretty much the same cast. Now, I have been told that you did not have to watch the series to enjoy this movie. This is sort of a standalone movie. Okay. Obviously, if you watch the series, you're going to relate to it a little bit better.
Right.
But you didn't need to watch it. So I watched just a little bit of the series, a little bit here and there. And it was good. It was very well done. So I'm looking forward to this, to see what all the hype was about it.
But what he didn't tell you today is that he's watching it because he loves food, and there's good food scenes.
There are, yeah.
Well, good. Well, speaking of food, look, we have a couple extra.
We have a lot
Christmas
extra.
ornament chocolates.
You want to come by and get
Christmas?
some Christmas ornament chocolates?
Yes, we have them out front, so feel free to come by and have a chocolate on Monday.
Yeah.
On Monday.
All right. Have a great weekend.
All right.